What is up, Honey Badger Nation? I am John Kitchens, and man, welcome to episode 141 of Expert Mentors Live. I am super excited today as we have the one and only Mr. Koo York City himself, Vincent Koo, back on with us, and we're going to talk a little agent attraction. Vincent, what's up, brother?
What's up, John? Good to see you, my man. It's been a while.
It has been a while, man. How are things?
Things are great, man. Things are rocking and rolling in New York. We had a little bit of a slow start, coming out of this pandemic, but we have things are flying off the shelf just like everywhere else, right?
Yeah, man.
People are listing properties.
That's great. That's great. I know, things have completely different world since we last connected, and for all of you guys just tuning in. We had Vincent back on with us, man, episode 68, I think. And we were talking, mainly we were talking whale hunting, growing through attracting brokerages. And, for all of you, we're going to talk agent attraction strategies. But if you're like, kind of scratching your head, man, how do I go after the bigger brokerages? How do I go after these, these whales, man? Check out episode 68 of Expert Mentors Live with Vincent. And it was fantastic. It broke down the process and the framework there, and just a great episode, and super excited to have you back on, man. Glad to hear things are well.
Yeah, things are going well. I guess today what we're going to be talking about is what skills, right? We need skills to get good at anything we want to get good at, right? Skills to get to our goals, and if our goals are real estate sales, there's skills that we need to focus on there. Mike Ferry has 6 of them that he's kind of ingrained in us, going from time management to lead generation to lead follow-up, right? What else? Pre-qualification, presentation, and objection handling. Those are the 6, right? That he's been kind of drilling in, and get good at those 6 and you'll be good at real estate sales.
Yeah. Right? Give everybody, because we have, the size of the group is more than double. We're over 7,000 now here in the Honey Badger Nation. And so, give everybody a little context, a little background about yourself, kind of market. And I think it'd be really helpful for the context for the story we're going to share today.
Okay, cool. Vincent Koo, I've been in real estate. I think it's 22 years now, second generation. So Mom had, started the whole thing. They were brokers, and they had an independent company. So I played part as an agent, as a manager, and eventually as broker owner. And I turned their little independent company to a franchise. And I went out there and I joined a company called EXP Realty. And we turned this one brokerage into 3 large operations. And, man, we had about 336 agents at one time. And, all in New York, Manhattan, Queens, and Long Island. The 14 years that I was with them, I think we were Broker of the Year 12 out of those 14 years, and ranked nationally. It was a lot of fun, but it was a lot of stress as well.
It was remarkable. Yeah, just when I first had the opportunity to meet you, I was just kind of scratching my head. I was like, "Whew, that sounds painful."
It really was, and I look back at all that we had to do to just keep everything together. Yeah. The number of deals we had to generate just to cover our overhead was mind-blowing, and dealing with the liability behind all of those licenses. It was just too much, so EXP came to me, and it was a blessing.
Yeah. And, definitely I can absolutely see that, and just applaud you for your decision-making process. I know you flew out and got to be in the room in Vegas, and the conversation afterwards, and, really doing your due diligence. And it was cool to see, kind of witness the process as you were going through it.
That's where we met, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And it was really the peripherals outside around the event. The event was great, fantastic content, but it was just hanging out with you guys that really sealed the deal for me.
Yeah, it's good. So you really, to help the agents be productive, really embracing and educating and kudos to you on your leadership for one, and then putting in having your team develop those skills to be really successful and sling as much real estate as you guys have been able to sling. And so were these skills that we're going to talk about today, it had to be developed early on for you guys to grow as much as you have. And so where did you start to really, develop and find these skills for agent attraction?
These skills were all try, fail, and adjust, right? That's all it is. There was nobody out there that said, this is how you do it. Actually, we did bump into some great mentors along the way, and I just follow everybody else. I'm really good at following the leaders, right? So I just keep an eye out on who's doing it well. I listen to what they have to say.
Great.
The things that I'm going to be talking about today, that none of the stuff is my own. I don't make any of it up. What I do is rip off and duplicate, right? So we had a really cool event a while back, a couple of months ago, and there was like 35 of us honey badgers together, and it was I think it was a multi-day course. It was a virtual GoPro event.
Yes.
And, so we had that event, and then we had a little chat group on the side that were everybody's kind of talking it up during the event. And that was a lot of fun. And I really got some good information. And those were the guys that really unpacked it and gave me these 7 skills that we're going to be talking about today.
Oh man, I can't wait. Yeah, that was a fantastic event and just shows, really those that are serious and invested in growing the agent attraction side of things.
Yeah.
Cool. Let's jump in, man. I'm excited. Let's jump into these seven skills.
Yeah. So it's pretty, a lot of it is pretty simple, but, to have them identified and more importantly, to know where you stand in each of these categories is so important, right? Because that's where you need help. Like from that session, I actually get together weekly with, Carlos German, another honey badger. And we keep each other accountable. We focus on which areas we're going to be working on, tips that he's working on, what's working, what's not working for him. And we push each other, right? And that's important.
That's great. So Vincent, as we go through these 7, are you guys kind of grading yourselves on like a scale of 1 to 10?
Yeah.
Man, that's awesome. So would you mind saying, kind of sharing kind of where you're at or saying, hey, if you're not, if you're here, here's what you could do to improve it to get closer to a 10?
Oh, definitely.
Okay, cool.
I'll put it out there. I'm pretty hard on myself. So, the first skill for, agent attraction, I would say would be finding prospects, right? So super simple. We just need a list to work off of, right? And when you first decide that this is what you want to focus on, it should be a mind dump. Right? It should be just let me pour as many people over as I can onto this list. And it's not a list of who's going to join, who's not going to join, right? Because that doesn't work. It's just a list of all the people that you know in the industry, even outside the industry, right? And this is going to be your pipeline. This is going to feed you going forward, right? And not only do you have that list, but you're going to be adding to that list every day. You're going to start focusing on it, right? You're going to be jumping into pools and creating these communities and being a part of these events just so you could be out there and grow that pipeline and grow that list. Imagine never running out of people to talk to.
Yeah.
I find that so frustrating when you only have 5 people that you keep getting no's from and you're like, this whole thing doesn't work, right? We're talking to the same 5 people all the time, right?
More people to talk to.
So I was at Veronica's event recently in Orlando with John Cheplack, and he said something that was really cool. He said, if you're looking for X number of agents, you really need 5 times that in your pipeline, right?
Right.
So, you want 20 this year, you need 100. And it's not just 100 names, it's 100 people that you're connecting with.
Mm. Yeah. That's a great point. Dan Kennedy's rule was, I don't care if you've got 10,000 names in your database. The only thing that matters is who you're proactively communicating with. And
Right.
so that's great what you just said, right? If you want 20, you've got to have 100 that you're communicating with. That's a great point.
Right. And you'll be surprised what comes out of that list. There's people that will reach out that refer other agents over just because they know that that is something that you're open to. Right.
Right.
I think that's very important. Where I put myself, with finding prospects, I don't find that part difficult. So I would say that I'm a 6. How I could be better at that is putting myself out there more. I'm more of an introvert, so I kind of keep to myself unless if it was up to me.
I'm with you, brother.
Yeah.
I'll do the same. So putting yourself out there more, what do you mean by that?
Being in on this thing, agreeing to, you had to ask me more than once.
A sick diva on you. That's all I did.
Right. So, just jumping into communities and not just being a wallflower and just, communicating, talking to people and adding value, and making those deposits, right? You have to be active with that. If you're passive with that, you just don't grow your prospect list.
Yeah.
Right. But, I like the fact that this whole EXP thing keeps people ethical. Nobody wants to join an agent or a group that, are, a bunch of jerks and don't treat other people right. Right. So we as EXP agents, we know that. So, we treat people better than other agents do. Right. That's the hardest part of this industry.
Yeah.
Right.
Really cool. It's been really cool. So for you, and then we'll move on to number 2, where do you have like a CRM? And like, how do you keep track of your list?
I'm a DI personality, right? So, I got cut straight to the point, but I don't have a lot of focus. So what I find happening is I have lists everywhere.
Yep.
I use, and I use the wealth chart. I've got it up there. I look at it every day. I also use Trello, right? I'm trying to get into KV Core, and I've just got these things all over. But I think what works for me is that I'm just focused on constantly adding.
Yeah.
Right. So I can't say that I have a perfect way of doing it.
Progress, not perfection. I love it. Yeah. You're like Hinder. He's got him Infusionsoft, HubSpot, Excel spreadsheet on a whiteboard. They're everywhere.
You know what the best one is for me? The next one.
Yes.
Not the one that you use. It's the next one.
It's like the next one.
The feature over there.
That's a great. I haven't heard that one. That one's good.
Oh man. So the next one, after you're out there finding prospects, is the skill of inviting. Right? Is just to get them over. And what do you invite to? You invite them to anything and everything that increases their skill, that shows off your culture, that increases their knowledge. From happy hours to your new listings to masterminds, whatever it is.
Yeah, I love that, man.
And then sometimes I find with inviting, a lot of times it's more important the invite than the actual event, right? The fact that you've thought about them to personally invite them to something.
They feel, right? You hit them all up in their feels big time.
Right. So, another thing that John Cheplack said was, 14 interactions, before anybody makes that move. Okay. So it could be those invitations, right?
That's a great point. Great point.
Yeah. So I'm I'm constantly out there. I would say I'm a 5 with that, you know, not great, but I'm always thinking about other people. You know, I'm always thinking about, hey, who would enjoy this, not who would join EXP. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like,
I
who
do,
would
man.
enjoy this event? Like, who would have fun here? Who would like this content? Who's working on this in their business, right? And then I'd invite them just to invite them, not hey, come here and check this out, because if you do, then you're in. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. It'd be fun, man. Who would I love to hang out with while we're learning and improving this skill set?
That's it, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, I do that. So finding prospects, inviting, and so many things happen via text now, right? It's nice when you pick up the phone. I think it's different. So just, yeah, mix it up. And you know what Nick Krem pushes, and he taught me, is that video, right?
Yeah, man.
How many of us have received a video text from him?
Yeah. How powerful is that?
And it's great. It's something that you know, I've talked to my team about, and you know, tried to get them to implement. And he says the best way to do it is just, you know, pick up the phone, look right at the camera, and say, hey, you know, John, I've been thinking about you, right? Yeah. Just thought about you, and that again makes you feel special. And then whatever I say after that is fine.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. All that matters. It's just the beginning and the end that matter, right? So I mean, just them, they see you say, hey, I was just thinking about you, and then, you know, hope you're well, you know, hey, love to get together, and boom.
Right.
It's done. It's powerful.
So just get used to doing that, and you're fine. You know, that's 1 and 2, you know, finding the prospect and inviting. And the third part is presenting. Okay. With presenting, I started that right away, coming in, because we were doing, you know, I think that I didn't have anybody locally that was doing live presentations. So I took it upon myself to say, you know, this is how I want to introduce EXP to people, and I'd have everybody else get used to inviting. But how powerful would it be if everybody in our organization knew exactly how to present the opportunity?
The right way.
The right way. Imagine that, right?
Did you have to, you know, kind of almost cut your teeth with it, with having to present to all of the agents in your organization?
Oh, fumbled all over the place, and you know, and it was a mistake, to tell you the truth. You know, you should definitely leverage your group, leverage your partners a little bit more, especially in the beginning, right? Especially when you have a lot to learn.
Right.
Okay, and you'll get it. You'll get it eventually. But I remember, you know, Pat Hayes coming into New York and doing a live presentation. I recorded that sucker, you know, and I listened to it word for word. I wrote that stuff down, and I took what I liked. You know, I jumped onto One Big Fire live however many times. You
Can't
know,
hear it enough.
You know, Brent's videos, and you know, just pulled whatever worked. Right, compiled it, put it together. You know, they say, like, he who speaks or she who speaks leads, right? So I heard that a while ago, and that's part of putting myself out there.
Vincent,
right?
what do you see? You know, I mean, even in, you know, like, you fumbled it, you know, in the beginning. What are some of the most critical mistakes in the presenting that you see a lot of agents making?
I think the most important part is that they get to know you in that presentation, right? So your story, I think, is so very important. If you have a powerful story, your vision is going to be inevitable, right? Like a story that's powerful enough to make your vision inevitable, right? So I try to put in there all the time about, you know, my transition, you know, being the top broker, and winning all these awards, but not sharing that not feeling like the win is really shared with the agents.
Right.
Right. And now I found an opportunity to, instead of having this broker agent relationship, to have this partnership relationship with these guys. Right. So I have, a broker story because I feel like the brokers could relate to that. Then I have an agent story because the agents could relate to that. All right. And I think that in these presentations, they need to get to know you. That information is all out there. All the other stuff is already out there. Right. So the important part of the presentation is that you come through, that you're somebody that they want to work with.
I listened to John Maxwell was on Ed Milet last week, and he really hit the three things as leaders, right, that your people have to feel. And so as I'm hearing you say that, this is kind of resonating. And he said, your people have to know, do they trust you? Right. So even in your presentation, are they trusting what you're sharing with them? And then second is, do they honestly believe that you can help them?
Right.
And then the third thing was, do they really care about me? And he said, as a leader in your organization, and so just to me, even it applies in your presentation, do the people that you're presenting to, do they trust you? Do they believe that you can help them? And do they think that you even care? And man, that's just really powerful. And when you can check all three of those boxes, I think.
So how do you build those three things into your presentation?
Yeah, that's a great question, right? To me, trust, and it goes back to getting to know you. Trust is really just authenticity, right? Just being vulnerable, being real, and that takes time. So it could be go back to the 14 different touches. How vulnerable and authentic are you being over those 14 touches to build the trust? Are you demonstrating and providing, because you're inviting them and helping them solve their problems? And that's, Gene 101, right? Get to know their problem. And so does your presentation help them solve their problem? And, are you connecting, inviting, and being authentic? And do they really genuinely believe that you care about them? Or are they just another agent, on the cog, right? Just check them off. I got them, right? Or do they really believe you care? So it's just interesting as you were saying that. It was just kind of where my mind was going as you were talking about getting to know. I love how you were sharing that.
Right. I think that if I could get more of the group, if anybody could get more of their group good at presentations, it's a win. And what I try to do is I try to get them involved. Right. It's get somebody co-hosting for the first time, have them work through it, have them figure out what their right words are, and have them do it a couple of times to a point where they become comfortable. Right. All of this practice is just for confidence.
Man, that's great. I love that.
Yeah.
That's good. Very good.
Outside of the presentations, it's the follow-up. That's number 4.
Number 4.
Right. So we've got finding prospects, we've got inviting, we've got the presentation, and then we've got the follow-up. Right. And it goes to those 14 points. And the following up is just keeping the conversation going. I spoke to somebody this last week. She's been in the business for, I think it's 3 years now. And she just landed her first broker, right? To the point where that one brokerage is going to double her organization size. One shot.
So cool.
Like that. And I said, what did you learn out of that process, right? And she said, first, how long did it take and all that stuff? And she said it took a year of conversing and following up and all those things. I said, what else did you learn? And she said, you know what? Don't ever make them wrong in their decision. Like, never make it like, why aren't you here yet? Like, this and that. It's just, approach it with love and communicate with them and be open with them. And, their timing is their timing, and that's it. Right. So
that's gold.
Yeah.
That's gold right there.
Yeah. So I would say when it comes to follow-up, it's getting them to that next exposure. Right. What I like is, after you communicate with them, touch base with them, find out about them, and continue to build that relationship. It's just, have you heard the news? Right? There's so much stuff coming down the pipeline from EXP Realty that there's always news that you could share.
Mm-hmm.
Always news you could share, right? Hey, we just opened up Hong Kong, right? We've got Israel coming down the pipeline. Did you see that we're offering this REO certification now, right? You mentioned you were interested in commercial real estate. Hey, I've got something that you could attend. And it's so easy because they offer it all to you, and they're constantly pushing new things out.
Yeah.
All you have to do is take any of those and use them in your follow-up.
Yep.
Right? So easy peasy.
What's best for you? How are you following up text? Are you really kind of reaching out and having a conversation via phone?
Most of it is text, but I try to move it off text as soon as possible.
Cool.
Right? Let's go out, grab a cup of coffee, or if it's somebody local, or at least see each other. I think that's so much better than text conversations. Yeah. Right? Hear each other's voice is another level.
You can't get the emotion in text, right? So you can't.
Yeah, but a lot of times it'll start that way, and if I can't get through to them one way, then I'll pick up, right? And we'll try the video text soon.
Yeah, got to do that. Got to do the video. I love it.
With the video text, it's just like, hey, let's just do it within our group first. So I've got these guys that are sending video text back and forth just to get comfortable at
great point.
Sending, but it needs to be what we do.
Yeah.
Right. You got to differentiate. That's what we do. Let's jump to number 5, closing. Close them to what? Close them to join all the time. Sometimes that's not necessary, right? So close them to the next event. Close them to the next exposure, right? And follow through to the end. There's so many times when people are like, yeah, listen, send me the link, I'm ready to go. And you don't take them through to the finish line. You don't call them and Zoom with them to go through that application.
Right.
You just missed an important step, right? They get lost, and that application takes them 3-4 days.
And they're busy, right?
Busy. And it's the last thing. And all of a sudden they get, another few deals, and they've got to stay a few more months. Yeah. Right? So when that window opens, you got to close it. Fast. That's it. And,
I like how you put that, right? Most people go to closing them to EXP, but it takes get a couple other yeses, get a couple other closes before you move them to the next deal, right? Just even back to your experience, your journey, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, it was closing you to fly across the country to Vegas.
Yep. And then it was like, hey, you got to meet this guy, right? Yeah. When can we get you on a Zoom call with this guy? They really want to meet you.
Yeah.
Right? And all of a sudden I'm talking to Gene, and I'm talking to Brent, and meeting everybody along the way, and it was great.
Well, even the small closures, even at the event. Hey, let's go over here and talk to these guys and have a drink. Hey, let's let them go and let's us sit right here and have dinner, right? Where you and Gil sit right there, just the two of you, right? So even the little closes along the way are really important. And your story is a great example to be able to share.
Yeah, definitely. And a lot of times you don't have to, with each of these skills, closing, I don't think I'm great with it. I think I just kind of let it happen. I never really force it. If anything, I would say I'm a 4. There's a lot of times I'll leave that interaction without moving them to that next step. Mm. And then it kind of becomes, I got to follow up again and invite again.
Go back to invite, go back, follow up, invite. Yeah.
Right. So it's kind of like just go back and redo and bring it back to that step. And then if I forget to close again, I've got to go back, when you could just keep it a process.
Yeah.
And keep them going. Right.
That's gold. That's absolute gold.
Closing is definitely important. Number 6, I would say, is onboarding. Getting people started. One of the big mistakes that I've made as well is just not getting them started right away. I also feel like there's a window. I feel like that's when everybody's looking and they want to see production from you. They want to see that you're getting acclimated quickly. And it is really our responsibility to continue to follow them to, that first closing, that first deal, getting through the difficult things. When we set up with EXP, it was a mess in the beginning. They so many things now. It is really great. I mean, but it's nice to see that progress.
Right.
Yeah. And what I realized is checklists don't work, John. It's kind of like here's your onboarding checklist. Go ahead and check those things off yourself. And I find that to be just so difficult to follow. I'm not good with them myself. I think it's more bite-sized assignments.
I think you're spot on. So what is there a particular process, anything that you guys have done right now? I mean, it's got to be, really hard for you. So to do, to hand walk somebody through. So how have you kind of designed that process to make the onboarding and that experience,
it's all about learning from the other leaders. I know that, there's other people in our group that have a designated person in EXP Angel that everybody.
That's a good way to put it. That's a good way to put it.
and that takes, because part of the reason why some of these leaders don't go out and attract is because it does take a lot out of you, right? You feel responsible and you have to help these guys through. So we're in the process of looking for somebody that will take on that position and help walk each and every person through the onboarding and make sure that they start right away. All of these steps, all of these skills, they kind of tie together, right? If you onboard somebody correctly, then you're going to take their contacts and help them with it, right? Because you can't expect them to come in and know all of these skills right away. So you're going to help them build their list, right? And then you're going to show them how you do things. So it's kind of like tell, show, try, do. Right?
Yeah.
You tell them what to do, then you show them what to do. Right? You have them try it out,
and then do it.
And you have them do it. And they mess up, and then you bring them back, and you tell them again.
Yeah.
Right? And you're like, no. Let me show you again.
Yeah.
Right?
And I think you're spot on with the little bite-sized chunks. And I think, even, the power of incorporating video to help walk them, through to where you can make it scalable, right? To where, to be able to have that process and keep it bite-sized chunks. I think that's the key.
Yeah. And I heard that where it's, if you find that nobody's doing it, it's because it's not simple enough.
Right. Too complicated.
Make it, then you've got to make it so that instead of giving them a 3-step assignment, break it down to 2 steps, break it down to 1 step. Yeah. And then you've got to go back because, I've sent these checklists out and, I realized they didn't do any of it.
Right.
It's a mistake. It's a mistake, but we learn from it, right?
That's right. Yeah. And so not only get them on board it, I think there's 2 things there that you said. I want to make sure everybody, caught. It's getting them, to be able to help them close that first deal, even if they're a rock star, but still helping them, making sure that they get to that first closed deal, understanding the process, going through SkySlope, getting everything, especially indies, they're used to doing things a certain way, getting into a new system, and then also helping them get their first recruit. So I think both is equally important when it said, kind of what is getting people started. I think that's what you were saying is equally as important, both of them.
I agree. And once you get it done right, it allows them to duplicate it as well. Right. So they see how it's done, and it's the domino effect.
Yeah.
Right? So you set it up well, you do it well, you keep it simple, and they'll pay that forward, and that's how you get everybody in the organization good with their skills, right?
Yeah.
last one, number 7 is just promoting events, right? Promoting events is so important in agent attraction and all of these masterminds that we do, the live ones, we have to promote. It's not just to the new people, but it's our existing people, right? We need them to be plugged in. We need them to see what's going on, and we need them to expand outside of just us.
Yeah.
Right. They need to get around others, and we just have to rally behind every single event that we have. Right.
So yeah, I mean, it's so key, with that, is getting them excited to where they're cascading, the praise and getting them promoting as well. Which then kind of also ties back into helping them invite. They're promoting, but now it just makes it easier for them to invite, what they're promoting as well. So that's good how that kind of can, and you nailed it a second ago, right? They all tie together.
They do. And, you don't have to be great at all of them. You just have to recognize where you are, right? And then you have to leverage your partners. Any of your partners could help you with anything that you're not good at. You just have to, look to them for help, right? That's the beauty of this whole thing, this whole alignment, this whole access, right? So we just all need to know that we're not alone. And imagine if we all got out there, we all got better at doing these 7 things, man, we would explode.
I think too, Vincent, not being afraid, like even just still staying here on promoting events, not being afraid to reach to your upline to help promote those events as well.
Definitely. I rely on my people every day. I'm reaching out to them. Hey, what do you think about this? What are you working on? Talk to me about this. And just being able to bounce that idea off them, that having that counsel is so important.
And it's kind of shocking. There's a lot of agents that I've talked to at EXP. They don't even know all the way up 7 who their complete upline is.
Right.
So
right.
if you don't know that, you guys have got to take the time and figure that out and know, because they have a vested interest in your success, and and not be afraid to reach out to them is the other thing. And just understand who they are and feel free to reach out to them. And you're going to be surprised at how receptive, agents here in your organization and in your upline are going to be to.
Yeah, and even outside. I mean, with our Honey Badger group, I mean, anything that you need, any question that you have, what is the group size now?
It's over 7,000.
7,000. Can you believe that? I think it was like nearing 3,000 when
nearing 3,000. Yeah, we're more than double since the last time you were on. And, I share so many different praises and stories, just people coming in, and I'd be like, reach out to, one that always kind of rings in my mind is we had Mary Peacock out of Michigan. She was coming in, and I said, you need to reach out to Veronica. And you know what? Veronica spent an hour and a half on the phone talking to Mary, and Veronica has no upside. You know what I mean? And it's just like, that's what's cool. I've never been a part of a group like this. We've been in every damn group, and I know you have too. And, it's really cool to see the collaboration and just the caring and the giving that this organization has.
Definitely agree. So that's it. It is super simple. It's not rocket science. It's not like, oh my gosh, it's, how do you do this? How do you build this organization? It's just these 7 skills. It's just working on them, and, every day having that focus and being mindful of getting better in each of them. Right.
Yeah. I think, and you nailed it a while ago, take account of where you're at, and then what are you going to do about moving forward? And just to recap, the question, what are the 7 steps? So number 1 is finding prospects.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2 is inviting. Number 3 is presentation, is presenting. Number 4 is follow up. 5 is going to be closing. 6 is going to getting people started, and 7 is going to be promoting events. Those are the 7 steps, and man, you nailed it. Those are fantastic. And just, I know everybody else kind of going through this is taking note of where they're at. And I'm glad we were able to give some really good distinctions on what we can do to improve. For you right now, out of those 7 steps, like what skill set are you most committed to improving right now?
I think the biggest issue that we have is the onboarding. Okay. Especially as the organization grows and you're a little bit more disconnected as people come in.
Yeah.
Right. We want to have something that everybody is able to plug into. I want everybody to be able to know who you are and all that you add back into the organization. But if they don't plug in, they don't have access to it. Right. So I feel like there's so many of these missing pieces that, if we onboarded them properly, the whole group would accelerate.
Yeah.
So onboarding, I put myself down as a 4, right?
And that's what you're most committed to right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I love it. I think it really is. And I mean, even go back to just even in our real estate businesses, as we bring team members on, right? Most agents don't have that system really dialed in. So onboarding is critical.
Definitely. So, I just say, just keep an eye out on who's doing it out there, in Honey Badger Nation, and reach out to them. They've already got it figured out.
Yeah. Success leaves clues. And there's a lot of, really successful. I mean, not only 7,000, I mean, 7,000 honey badgers. There are some of the best agents on the planet in this group.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Vincent, man, I really appreciate you. Just kind of a side note, man, you God dang, man, a ton of success in the industry but for you personally, like what's the most important in your life right now?
Time, just having a little bit more control of time. Right. Coming right off of, John Cheplack's relaunch event, he said it's not time management, it's decision management.
Yeah.
Right. And that was really, really insightful for me.
Yeah.
I find that time is controlling me a little bit too much, and I'm having fun, but I need to make sure that all areas of my life get a little bit of time and attention.
Yeah. So important. That is very wise. Chep's got a bunch of those insightful things that we need to pay more attention to. So
exactly.
Very cool, man. Well, Vincent, brother, I really, really appreciate you taking the time out. You are a tremendous leader, and definitely someone that, I look up to, and everybody in this organization should look up to. And, I really, really appreciate you jumping in, adding a ton of value. Thank you so much. And we'll definitely have to do it again. Maybe not let so many episodes go by before we do it again.
You got it, John. Thank you so much.
Awesome,
I appreciate you. Okay.
All right.
Take care.
Appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you, guys. We'll see you on the next episode.